I had always liked talking to myself. Not in the I'm crazy kind of way, but more as a way to think aloud, to organize my thoughts when life felt too chaotic. My friends called it weird, but I found comfort in hearing my own voice echo off the walls of my small apartment. That Saturday night, though, I was about to discover that talking alone could be the least alone experience of my life. I had stayed late at the lab again, the soft hum of computers and machinery my only companions. My project, a quantum communication device designed to test theoretical, instantaneous messaging across vast distances, was still in its infancy, and I was mostly talking to myself as I scribbled notes. Maybe if I recalibrate the flux capacitor, no, the subspace stabilizer, yes, the stabilizer, I muttered, pacing back and forth. I didn't notice the soft, almost musical vibration that began filling the air, the kind that felt like it resonated directly in your chest. At first, I thought it was my imagination, a trick of the late-night isolation. But then a voice, soft and ethereal, responded. "Why do you talk so loudly?" I froze mid-step, my pen hovering above the notebook. Who's there?" I whispered, unsure if I had just imagined it. "I am here," the voice said again, calmer this time. "You were talking to yourself, and I answered." I laughed nervously. "Okay, you're not human, are you?" "No," came the response, a hint of amusement lacing the words. "I am Princess Alara, of the Valian Dominion." I stumbled back, nearly dropping my notebook. "Princess of what now?" "The Valian Dominion," she repeated, her voice a cascade of soft tones that seemed to ripple with colors I couldn't see, but somehow felt. "A realm far beyond your solar system. I am stranded, and you are the first human to reach me." For a moment, I thought I'd lost my mind entirely, but her voice had a certainty, a presence that was undeniable. I found myself compelled to speak, as if the universe itself had appointed me as a conversational bridge. "How stranded? Are you inside my computer?" I stammered, gesturing at my devices. "Not exactly inside," Alara said. "I exist in a plane your technology is only beginning to understand. Your device created a brief link between our worlds. It is rare and perhaps accidental." I sank into the lab chair, my heart racing. "So, you're real, and I'm talking to an alien princess." "Yes," she replied softly, and there was no mockery in her tone. "Only warmth. And I am lonely. I've been alone in this space for what feels like centuries." Her words, strangely intimate and sad, made the room feel colder and more expansive at the same time. I wanted to ask 100 questions, but my mind was still reeling from the impossibility of her existence. What do you look like?" I asked finally. "I am not bound to a single form here," she said. "But if you wish, I can manifest in a way that your senses can comprehend." A shimmer of light filled the room, gentle but blinding. Slowly, a figure appeared before me. Not fully solid, more like a holographic projection made of liquid light, shifting in hues I couldn't name. Her eyes were deep pools of luminescence, her hair flowing like ribbons of starlight. She wore a gown that seemed woven from the auroras themselves, a garment impossible to replicate on Earth. I swallowed hard. "You're beautiful." "I am merely a reflection of your perception," she said with a faint smile. "But thank you." I didn't know whether to be terrified or fascinated. "Why me?" I asked finally. "Why did you answer me?" Her form flickered slightly, and her voice grew serious. "You speak without expectation of audience, without fear. You converse with your own thoughts, and that is rare among humans. You are open, honest, and curious. That drew me to you." I felt a strange swell of pride, tinged with disbelief. "So, you've been alone all this time? Waiting?" "For me, Time has no meaning as it does for you. But yes, I've been isolated from my people since the war with the Clithar, eons ago. I am the last of my line. A lump formed in my throat. I wanted to comfort her, but how could a human possibly console an alien princess who spoke of centuries of loneliness? You're real, I whispered again, shaking my head. I can't. I don't even know how to. You are trying, she said softly. That is enough. We spent hours, or what felt like hours, talking. I told her about my life on Earth, my failed relationships, my small triumphs at the lab, the quiet loneliness that had always been a companion. She told me stories of her home world, of the great cities of crystal that floated among the gas giants of Vale, the majestic starships that sailed not through space, but along streams of quantum energy, and the terrible war that had left her the sole heir. I began to feel as if the lab walls had dissolved. The hum of machines faded into the background, and all that existed was her voice, warm and tangible, a tether across the impossible gulf of space. At one point, I realized I was laughing at a story she told about a Valian custom involving gravity-shifting dances and luminescent pets. I wish I could see that, I said wistfully. You may someday, she replied. Her form wavered like a candle in the wind, and for a brief moment, I swore she seemed closer, her eyes more solid. Perhaps one day, I will step into your world, as you have reached mine. I shivered. Do you think humans could survive Vale? Her laughter was musical, ringing like crystal bells. Some could. Perhaps you, if given the courage to step into the unknown. I felt my chest tighten. Courage. I had never considered myself particularly brave. And yet here I was, talking to a being who was beyond everything I had known, and I wasn't running. I was fascinated, entranced. And then, just as suddenly as the connection had begun, it faltered. My monitors flickered, lights dimmed, and her voice grew faint. They aren't approaching, she said, urgency breaking her ethereal calm. The Clithar, they are aware now. Our connection, it may not last much longer. I swallowed hard. Wait. What do you mean? How can I help? Your help is unique, she said. You do not yet know what you are capable of, but you must be ready to act when the moment comes. Prepare yourself. And then she was gone. The shimmer of light dissipated, leaving the lab in quiet darkness, save for the hum of my machines. I sat frozen, heart pounding. My rational mind screamed that none of this could be real, yet my chest knew the truth of it, a truth that defied reason. Over the next few days, I tried to resume normal life, but everything felt hollow. My colleagues spoke of mundane experiments, of budget issues and mundane physics equations, and I could barely focus. I spent hours at the lab, repeating the calibration that had first drawn her voice into our world, hoping, praying for another contact. And one night it happened again. This time, she appeared more solid, more confident. You are ready, she said. Her eyes glimmered with urgency and trust. The Clithar are coming, and you may be the bridge that saves both our worlds. I stared at her, my mind racing. Me? How? I'm just me. I'm not a soldier. I'm not. You are exactly the one who can, she interrupted gently. Your uniqueness, your curiosity, your willingness to speak without fear, it gives you the ability to access what others cannot. You will guide me, and I will guide you. Together, we may prevail. She extended a hand, and this time, I felt a real warmth emanating from it, as if her essence had crossed into our reality. Without thinking, I took it. The contact sent a surge of energy through me, visions of distant stars, colossal cities, and war-torn planets flashing in my mind. I could feel her entire world, and the weight of responsibility settled upon my shoulders. We must move quickly, she said. The Clythar are advancing through the subspace corridors. If we do not act, both your world and mine will be at risk. I nodded, heart hammering. What do I do? Trust yourself, she said. And trust me. Over the next several weeks, I became her conduit. Through the quantum link, I could manipulate communications, reroute energies, and even shield her from attacks by the Clythar scouts. The bond we forged was profound. Her guidance was steady and unwavering, and my human ingenuity, my improvisation and instinct proved vital. We became a team, crossing impossible distances, navigating threats that defied comprehension, all while learning to rely on one another. And through it, our connection deepened beyond mere alliance. I realized I had begun to care for her, not just as a distant, ethereal presence, but as someone whose essence had touched my life in ways I could not fully explain. Finally, after what felt like an eternity in both Earth-time and her timeless existence, we confronted the Clythar in a climactic subspace engagement. The battle was fierce, but our unity proved decisive. The Clythar were repelled, forced to retreat, and the Valian Dominion, though scarred, endured. As the dust of victory settled, she appeared before me one last time in a more permanent form, fully corporeal in a way my human senses could perceive. She reached out and touched my face, her fingers cool but tender. "You have done it," she whispered. "Not just for my people, for both our worlds. You have saved us." I swallowed, overwhelmed. I couldn't have done it without you. She smiled, a warmth that eclipsed the glow of any star. "And yet, you did, because you were willing to speak when no one else could hear. You were brave enough to reach across the impossible." And then, she leaned closer, her voice a tender echo of eternity. "I know we come from different worlds, but I choose to be with you, here, now, and beyond. Will you let me?" I didn't hesitate. "Yes," I whispered, and in that moment, the distance between our worlds vanished entirely. We stood together, human and Valian, two beings from separate realities yet bound by trust, courage, and something far deeper than words. For the first time in my life, I understood the truth of connection, of speaking and being heard, of finding companionship in the most impossible of circumstances. And as I held her hand, I knew that my late-night conversations with myself had led me here, not to solitude, but to the extraordinary presence of the alien princess who had answered. The universe was vast, terrifying, and beautiful, and I was no longer alone.